Now, Minister Nene and Governor Kganyago have their work cut out for them.
Yes.
So what would you suggest to be their first port of call when preparing their speeches?
Well, Minister Nene needs to slow down a little bit and lower the pitch of his voice. And he has a tendency when he pauses to say, So he fills those gaps with funny sounds, which is really what we call the paralanguage of the voice. It's almost like the body language of the voice. So it sends out a signal saying, I'm still speaking, but I'm thinking of the right word at this moment. So what I'd like to teach or suggest to him is that he learns to pause and have that silence and be comfortable with the silence, because it actually creates more impact and more power. So that's a key area for him to focus on. And Kganyago needs to lower the pitch of his voice, because he tends to speak very, very fast, and you lose a lot of the clarity of what he's saying. So never mind losing the power, we can't really understand what he's saying. So there is a lot of work to be done, but very often when people move up in their careers, if it's political or business-wise, so there's a higher standard that's demanded of them. And when there's that higher standard, then they go out and quickly learn the techniques to fulfill and to be able to express their actual knowledge, because you can be an expert at something, but if you can't express it, if you can't speak well, then one won't be as convincing.
Now, each year our president delivers his State of the Nation address, and truthfully, instead of listening to what he's saying, most of South Africa has turned it into a drinking game, where you down a shot each time he mispronounces something or stumbles over his words or can't read a number. So when it comes to the president, where is he falling short?
Well, the president, one doesn't really believe that he's written the speeches himself.
No, we don't.
And often you sort of think that this is the first time he's actually looking at the words as well himself, because the pauses are all incorrectly placed. His eye contact's not good. He's trying to follow the words and the sentences as he goes along. So really, even though his pitch is quite good, he's got a deep voice, which is quite commanding, and that is an impressive quality. He does need to practice and rehearse and go through the words and get the flow of speech going. And there's something with public speaking that's crucial, and it's called pausing, phrasing, and emphasis. And if a lot of our political speakers and business leaders could be aware of that, it would also help them. When do we pause? What words are key? When do we speed up? When do we slow down? When do we use a lighter voice? When do we use a deeper voice? So the voice is really like an instrument, and it's how well we play it that really counts.
Now, of course, English isn't the president's first language, which many people do point out, and it's quite legitimate. And often as South Africans, we find ourselves in situations, either with family or in the workplace, where we have to communicate in a language that isn't our first language.
Yes.
So do you have any tips for people who find themselves in situations like our president does?
I think that's a very important point. I wouldn't like to be communicating in a second language, for example, myself. I think it is a challenge, and it's not easy. However, if they are using English as the business language or political language of choice, they need to become familiar with it. So I would say reading aloud, even if you're reading a cereal box at home aloud, reading the newspaper aloud, and just getting the feel of the movement and the rhythm and the lyricism in the language. That would help people quite a lot. But often they'll look at a word and think, wow, how do I pronounce this? And they need to just get the feel, or listen to English radio stations and hear how other people pronounce words and so on.